I mean, to some degree, you're the product of the way the system is supposed to work. You got prompt diagnosis. Your injury perhaps wasn't as serious as some. Your coma of, of what was 6 days,
Yes.
but not an injury requiring surgery. You got adequate treatment in the hospital. You got immediate rehab. Um, how do we assure that when insurance companies are constantly trying to cut back that care, that the survivor, that the family, that the community really demands that the treatment fits the model that you got?
That's a really good question, and I really wish I had a clear answer for it. The best thing I can say is just fight, not so much fight the system, but find a way to let the system work for you. I know that's one thing, and again, I was very fortunate because I had parents, but I know that was one thing that my parents really had to struggle with. But they were on a constant search to find ways to recognize limitations in the system, but then still work around those limitations and find ways to make the system work. And I recognize that's a lot easier said than done, but that's, yeah.
Your story tells about the Crumley House, and it's interesting you talk about people who are going back in their second stays, that are coming back first time is 6 years after. We have this idea that you go through 6 months to a year after surgery or whatever you have, and then you're pretty much better, and that's the person you're going to be. Yet your experience is finding that people are getting benefit from treatment that happens years and years later. What do you think the significance of that is?
Well, that's one thing. One thing I think the significance is when doctors say this is the maximum recovery. That guaranteed, I can almost guarantee that is false. They recognize it in the medical literature or whatever, but I've heard too many exceptions. I've heard too many people say that's not how it happened to believe that. And I think if we accept that, then we put a stop to our own recovery. I've seen even up to this very day, I still, well, not today exactly, but like this year and throughout the last couple months, I've seen changes and myself working through issues that still came up from my brain injury. So it's something that you never finish recovering from. And to hear people say that this is when you're going to stop recovering after this point, that's just not, the main thing is just that's not true.
Another hard question: why is it so important that society devote the resources to rehabilitation?
Because we're all people. Because when we get brain injury, we don't lose our humanity, and we don't lose any part of our humanity. We are still fully human, still fully interactive beings with society. And to say that these people don't deserve the care and the help that they require is kind of denying them a very important thing that society is established to provide us with.